And welcome back to the Halftime Report. Let's hit our call of the day. It's Target. JP Morgan cutting its price target to 105, down from 140 ahead of earnings later in the month. Brenda, you own this one. Shares down about 0.75% right now.
Yeah, so Target's a relatively new purchase for us. We added it in late March of this year, but really bought it on the hopes of a turnaround that really is what the company is trying to focus on: differentiation, having better in-stock positions, providing more newness. So early days there, we're not expecting a huge significant move. But I think outside of that, when we look at the overall consumer, we're seeing a story of relative health with some of the recent earnings that we've had with Disney, DoorDash, Lyft, all citing relative strength of the consumer. So I don't think we can count the consumer out. But Target we really own as a turnaround, so not expecting a full turnaround to happen over the last month. So we're in it. We bought it when it was down and out, so we're going to stick with it for now.
You know, it's interesting because Walmart has its earnings coming up next week. Bit of a different business. Walmart is much more grocery focused, but are you going to use those earnings as a read on what you're expecting from Target? Like, are you looking to hold on to this for this full turnaround, or would you possibly look for a chance to jump ship on this stock if you don't like what you hear from Walmart?
We're not so we tend to be long-term holders and have a little bit more patience. Target also has a significant part of its business in grocery, not as much as Walmart, but would certainly look to hear what Walmart's saying about the overall consumer. But I do think they're different. I think Target caters to a little bit more of a higher income consumer overall, and as long as there's newness and something interesting there, the consumer is likely to come. The problem is they just need that. They need that to drive visits and to drive purchases. Walmart, I think, has been a beneficiary of trading down in this higher cost inflationary environment that we've been in. So I think even though they play in the same space, they have a slightly different consumer. Okay. So I wouldn't do a one-to-one read-through. Steve
Weiss, your view on the consumer, also Target, again, earnings coming up, getting a downgrade today. Pretty significant price target cut as well.
Yeah, look, Target's it's been a problem child and had such great hope when Brian Cornell went there. Did well initially, got rid of Canadian assets, but it just doesn't seem it just doesn't seem worth the headache of going into when there are other retailers to play. Look, the consumer has to be under pressure. It doesn't take a clairvoyant to figure that out. With rising costs across everything they buy, they're under pressure. And with most 2/3 of the country living paycheck to paycheck, it's a real issue. So I'm not particularly positive on the consumer. We've even seen the high-end consumer of the last couple of quarters cut back, not because of affordability, but tired of spending $4,000 for a handbag or things like that. We've seen it in watches. So it's not a good time all around.
All right. Kevin, you got quite a bit of retail exposure. You got Home Depot. You also have TJX. What's your take on the consumer? You have kind of two different segments of the consumer there.
Well, I think the Home Depot play is more of a rates coming down at the end of the year and maybe a 5-year super cycle in terms of the major renovations that we did during COVID. TJ Maxx is really a play where you don't have to worry about tariffs. And if the consumer does trade down, it's a very loyal base. I think they do well in a recessionary environment or a thriving economy. Love the name.
All right. Home Depot shares pulling back about 0.5% right now. Got a quick programming note. Our friends over at Fast Money, they're holding a get-together on June 5th over at the NASDAQ. You can grab a front row seat to watch the show live. To order a ticket, scan the QR code on your screen right now or go to cnbcevents.com/fastmoney.